we have Brandon Ayuk news, and we actually have real preseason action. The Texans have their starters out there. Was not expecting it. We're going to go ahead. We'll talk about it all. But first, we are going to hop into a 2024 fantasy football draft. Best Ball Mania, $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool, $1.5 million for first. Largest fantasy football tournament on the planet. We are in here, and let's freaking go. There are 7 spots open in this draft. If anybody wants to draft with us, go ahead, update the buy-in to the $25 on the screen. But thank you so much for everybody coming out to see us. Appreciate y'all. And yeah, let's first start off with the Brandon Ayuk discussion. In that, with Ayuk, I hashtag trust Ricky. At least I did trust Ricky. And it looks like Ricky was wrong. Looks like the Niners and Brandon Ayuk have gotten back together, worked out their differences, and are renegotiating some deals. If you are looking at Ayuk, the reports are saying that there was a deal in place where it was agreed upon the Browns to send Amari and a couple picks for Ayuk, and Ayuk went, I don't want to be in Cleveland. Apparently, it was agreed that he could go to New England, and he went, yeah, I think the Patriots quarterbacks are bad. And apparently that was enough for him to go back to San Francisco, and maybe they're going to, Ayuk will lower his number a bit. Maybe the Niners will raise theirs a bit. I don't know, but as it stands today, August 9th, it looks like Brandon Ayuk is probably a San Francisco 49er this next season, and we'll see what happens in this draft because of it. But Prod, I noticed you as soon as we loaded into this lobby. Happy to see you, my guy, out here at pick 8. Robbie in this draft with us at pick 7, saying it's his first draft with us. Hell yes. Excited to draft with you, my friend. And John says, digging the Golden Blazer. This is like 5 sizes too big for me from Goodwill, but the other blazers that we have that actually fit are at the dry cleaners. We're going to get them their yearly cleaning today. So you may see us in the gold one today and tomorrow, my friend. Prod says, this is not the old Prod. It's, I swear to God, my friend. I know it sounds like I'm pandering. I know it sounds like I'm making this up. I saw it and went, I don't even remember you having a badge at all. I was like, when did he get a red badge? Has he been in these drafts with us a bunch? But we're going to go ahead. We will take Jamar Chase at pick 4. Should be able to find a running back that we like. Y'all know a lot of times if I'm in this range of the draft, what I'm typically doing is I'm going, oh, okay, I'll take wide receiver Jamar Chase. Then at the end of round 2, I'll take another wide receiver, and then I'll go Kyron Williams to pick 28. Now, should you do that in your regular redraft league? No, because you're not going to get Kyron Williams at pick 28. In your regular redraft league, the wide receivers will be great values once you get to the middle rounds. Here, a little bit different, so we're kind of stuck taking the wide receivers at the top. If I'm just like in an ESPN draft, I'll probably go ahead. I probably will take Brees or Bijan here instead at 4. Vinny says this is the non-pickleball blazer. Yes, this is the where we're getting real fancy on y'all. This is the blazer that wins us $1.5 million in Best Ball Mania. I'll tell you that much. But let's also talk about what's happened with the preseason game. So the big thing that happened was Tank Dell touchdown. You surprisingly had Tank Dell playing, Stephon Diggs playing, Nico Collins playing, CJ Stroud. Everybody was playing for the Houston Texans, which I was a little surprised with. Tank Dell got the touchdown. If you look at the snaps, Stephon Diggs actually got some usage specifically in the slot, which is very interesting, and I think probably good news for Diggs. You actually saw Tank Dell play 4 snaps in comparison to Diggs and Nico Collins at 6 out of 6 potential snaps in their first drive. Obviously, it's way too small of a sample to come out with anything concrete. It's hard to say, oh, okay, based on what happened in the preseason, do this. All I would say is don't get too excited. Don't be moving Tank Dell up 6 picks in your rankings just because he scored a touchdown, looked good in the preseason on one play. It's not going to be the biggest deal in the world. Now, I will say one of my first fantasy football championships I did win specifically because I was just a high school kid and Emmanuel Sanders had like a bomb from Peyton Manning during the preseason. And I went, ooh, they're going to be good. And then I took Emmanuel Sanders way earlier than where he was supposed to. Was it the right thing to do? Probably not. Probably just got lucky. But let's see. Hoovering Hans says, Mason, do you think the stock of Tyron Tracy has gone up after last night? Played pretty well. I don't think he falls third string behind Gray and Singletary. So obviously Gray, quote unquote, played better. Gray got the majority of the discussion. But Tracy did appear to be the clear running back 2 already as a rookie. I'd probably agree that he is the running back 2 in this offense. But yeah, I'm not moving Tracy in my rankings either way, to be honest with you. Marvin Harrison Jr. makes it down to pick 19 in this draft. Much further than what you typically expect. Nico Collins off the board. This is a range where Waddle's banged up a bit. Kupp's been a big-time riser. You'll know I'm not a big fan of Adams here. So you know what I'm going to do? Do we want to? We'll just take Jalen Waddle. We can probably get Kyron on the way back around. I was going to reach on Kyron Williams and then just say, oh, the wide receivers are about the same here. We'll take a wide receiver at 28. But we'll see. Now, Dan says, wait, so does the Flock Fantasy Contest 2 come back soon? I only did 2 of them out of 3. So the Flock tournaments that get dropped on Underdog every Monday and Thursday, there are only 4,800 potential total teams drafted. So once those 4,800 teams are drafted, the tournament's closed and there are no more entries. So the Flock tournaments that have been dropping on Underdog are filling very quickly. They are filling in about a day. Yeah, every individual only has a 3 max entry, but you still have to draft your team before the tournament ends. I will say, though, that we are going to continue to have Flock drafts every Monday and Thursday. We'll specifically have new Flock tournaments on Underdog every Monday and Thursday till the season starts. So you'll have more opportunities to get in, my friend. Platinum says, does Underdog have better draft rankings than ESPN? There is more money drafted on Underdog Fantasy than any other platform in the world. I'm guessing. I don't have numbers, but just looking at the massive tournaments, this is a $15 million prize pool in this tournament. So I would make the argument that Underdog ADP on the whole is how Kyron Williams goes. We get sniped, so we're going to take Mike Evans. But I would make the argument that the Underdog ADP is by far and away the best ADP and the best set of rankings that you could be using if you are looking at positional. So if you're in your redraft league and you go, I know I want a running back. Okay, Underdog, the best available running backs next are Derrick Henry, Isaiah Pacheco, Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs, James Cook. Or, I needed a tight end. The best tight ends available next are Laporta, Kelsey, McBride, Andrews. Oh, the best quarterbacks next are Allen, Hurts. If you're using the positional rankings, then yes. The issue is the overall rankings in terms of how wide receiver versus running backs are valued against each other. You probably shouldn't be using those for your regular redraft league because it is best ball and it is a different format, my friend. But of course, real quick, if you don't know what we are doing, we are drafting on Underdog Fantasy. It's by far and away my favorite place to draft. I've drafted here every single day for years and years and years. It's best ball, so there's no time commitment at all during the season. So I'm able to draft hundreds of teams every offseason. That's how I won $150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And yeah, they have Flock drafts every Monday, Thursday night, but we're still streaming drafts and other tournaments every single night anyway. And if you want to join one of those drafts with us, you can find that link in the description, in the comment section. If you use code FLOCK, you will get my 2024 Fantasy Football Draft Guide, my 2024 Fantasy Football Rankings, a 2024 ADP Consensus Cheat Sheet, all 3 of which are going to be updated every Sunday for you until the season starts. You'll get all the updates if you use code FLOCK on Underdog. Plus, you'll get a 50% deposit bonus up to $250, and you'll get a Christian McCaffrey special pick'em more than less than half a total yard. You do need to be in one of these states, though, if you want to draft on Underdog. But you can see the map here. And if you're in one of those states, yeah, I definitely recommend you go down to the link in the description, comment section, live chat, and join a draft with us. Okay. Now, HPT Bear says, hey, Mason, hope you're doing well tonight. How far do you think Debo slides down and are you doing a high-stakes draft tonight? Probably not doing a high-stakes draft tonight, my friend. But I do think that Debo does fall based off the news. Like if you were looking at me reaching on Debo Samuel at the beginning of the second round, I'm probably no longer doing that, to be honest with you. most likely just going to let Debo go back to where I think he is going to end up getting drafted at the 2-3 turn in these underdog drafts. If you're on like ESPN or Sleeper or Yahoo, honestly, you can get Debo Samuel round 3, round 4 in some drafts, though. Okay. So Derrick Henry makes it all the way down to round 4. In the mock draft that we did today, that was that redraft mock draft to give everybody a good sense of what you should be doing in your regular redraft leagues. We did take Derrick Henry in round 3, though. But the majority of your redraft leagues, Derrick Henry is actually going to go considerable amount higher than that. Okay, Preston says, I have an 8-team PPR redraft league tonight. I have the 101. Do I still pick CMC or do I pivot to CD or Tyreek? If it is an 8-team league, the floor doesn't matter at all, and the only thing that matters is the ceiling. So in an 8-team league, I have no hesitation. I am going to go with McCaffrey, even with a calf strain. The only thing that matters is the ceiling. The floor is kind of irrelevant. We'll go ahead. We'll take George Pickens. I think Pickens is a little more appealing than he was now that we have confirmation that it looks like Ayuk. I don't want to say confirmation, but now the way that things are trending is it looks like Ayuk is probably going to be a Niner. And if Ayuk is a Niner, I think it's a little bit safer to project Pickens to have a decent target share. Now, if you're looking at Justin Fields, I know there were some good Justin Fields. There were some bad Justin Fields today. But let's pull this up, see if there's anything relevant to discuss. Not really. I mean, you had a Pickens screen that went for 9 yards where he tried to hurdle someone out of bounds, but there's really nothing to talk about. So you have the Andrews-Lamar stack at the 4-5 turn, one of my favorite pairings. I'm going to go ahead. I will get our running back one. I'm going to take Josh Jacobs. I think this will be the best offense that Josh Jacobs has ever played in. And at the same time, he should have the receiving role in said offense. So I do feel very comfortable drafting Josh Jacobs at his cost. Especially when we start 4 wide receivers in a row, which is a big reason why we go wide receiver early on Underdog, right? Because like I discussed in the video today, really your draft strategy for your platform should be dictated based off of the values you want to be chasing in the middle rounds. And you should put yourself in a position where you're allowed to take those values. And I think we put ourselves in a position where we can take Jacobs here at 52 by going wide receivers 4 straight. Okay. So let's smooth this over. Dan says, auction, 12-team, 200 budget. Pick 2 keepers. Hall, JT, Achane. Hall at 36, I think you have to go with. Looking at JT versus Achane, let me see a percentage difference that's going to be. Is that an 8% budget difference? 35 minus 7 divided by 200. A 14% budget difference that you have there between the 2 players. I think you can go Achane. A big thing is going to depend on your starting lineup requirements as well as the amount of bench spots that you have. In terms of an auction, if you're going to go studs or duds, if it's a shallow bench, I think you're incentivized to go studs and duds because you're going to be able to get solid options off the waiver wire. However, if it is a league with the deep bench, like in Dynasty, I actually don't really take too many studs in auction formats. But that's Dynasty where you have extremely deep benches. Okay. Yes. Hit that like button if you have not done so already. If we hit 3 likes on the stream, we'll fire up another draft. LS says, Yo, Mace, is there going to be any more flock community drafts? Yes, on Underdog, there will be flock community drafts that drop every Monday and Thursday until the season starts, my friend. Every Monday and Thursday. Okay. EG says, hey, Mason, are you going to do any of the Superflex drafts on Underdog? To be honest with you, probably not. Like, I still have about 30 Best Ball Mania teams that I need to draft. And I'm just personally on Underdog. Like, I love playing Superflex and Dynasty. I mean, I've been playing Superflex Dynasty since 2017. Been playing Dynasty since 2014, but Superflex Dynasty since 2017. But Superflex Best Ball, I've never had that great of success with. Like these regular Underdog drafts, I mean, I've won 2 tournaments on Underdog. I've gotten 16th place in Best Ball Mania. I have profited heavily in the regular Underdog drafts, whereas the Superflex drafts, I've just gotten crushed every time I've tried them, my friend. So I'm just kind of staying away for the time being. So Kenneth Walker off the board at 67. Let's see what Cade does. Cade, member of the flock, took ETN from us 2 rounds ago. Goes Christian Watson. So we will go ahead. We will get Xavier Worthy. I think Worthy is the perfect example of someone that's more valuable in Underdog than he would be in your regular redraft league, just because he has the big spike week upside based off the quarterback that he's attached to. And he is a round 1 NFL draft pick, and he is a Texas Longhorn. Hook 'em horns. The great thing about taking guys like Jonathan Brooks, like Xavier Worthy, like even Jatavion Sanders later in the draft, is these guys at 18 years old, they were wise enough, they were smart enough to make the decision to go to Austin, Texas and become a Texas Longhorn. And that kind of decision making is just extremely impressive from any individual. And I think you have to give them the benefit of the doubt because they were that smart at such an early age to make that decision. So we are going to go ahead. We will take Worthy. Platinum Pizzas, what draft strategies do you use the most? If we're going to have to just come up with something in general, say my general draft strategy is best player available and letting the board fall to us. So here, when we have 0 quarterbacks, I think we're probably putting ourselves in a position where we need to be targeting wide receivers that have quarterback stacking options a little later on. So we can go ahead. We can take Glad McConkey here at the 706. Now, in your regular redraft league where you only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, I would highly advise you to stay away from starting this wide receiver heavy. Just specifically in Underdog, I've done enough of these drafts where I know the running back values that we're going to see in the middle rounds are phenomenal, and I really don't like taking wide receiver there. So I think the way that this board's fallen to us, it does make sense to go extremely wide receiver heavy, chasing the upside for weeks 15 through 17. If you look at the potential quarterbacks that we could be going with later on, we could go Joe Burrow at 93 to pair up with Jamar Chase. We could go with Tua to pair up with Waddle. We could go Baker to pair up with Evans. We could go Fields or Russ to pair up with Pickens. We can go Herbert to pair up with Ladd. So I do think we have a bunch of different options here. TJ says, Mason, solid videos as of late. Are you doing any larger buy-ins this year? So the league that I'm going to care most about, to be honest with you, it doesn't even have anything to do with the buy-in. We are having a massive Flock Fantasy League with myself and the other creators on flockfantasy.com. And there are going to be severe punishments to get last place, big time rewards to get first place. So honestly, it's a lot more. And also there's just a ton of credit on the line. So that's probably going to be the highest stakes league that I have, even if it's not a dollar amount. Like I'm in a $1,000 Underdog slow draft at the moment, which I will cover some of those for y'all, those high stakes that we're doing in terms of dollar buy-ins. But yeah, the league that I'm going to care most about this year will be that Flock redraft league with all the other creators. And we're actually going to be making content and stuff for that as well. I mean, exactly a week from now, everybody's going to actually be coming in to Austin, Texas, and we are going to be getting a ton of stuff underway. And actually, it's the 19th, not the 16th. So 10 days from now. But nonetheless, yeah, it's going to be a super fun league with myself and a bunch of fantasy football YouTubers. And we're going to cover everything actually on another channel. We're not going to post things on this channel. This channel is more so like fantasy football advice, right? The other channel that's going to be getting videos uploaded to it will be just more so like entertainment style stuff where I'm going through and I'm maybe creating a trash talking video saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe you made that trade. That was a garbage trade. You have no idea what you're doing. It'll be more like fun behind the scenes type of stuff, which I can get you a link to if you're interested. Just give me 1 second and I'll grab that. And also, we're actually going to have a meetup as well, not only with myself, but everybody as well. That's a member of that league. And also a bunch of people who watch this channel, a bunch of people who just really like fantasy football. So if you wanted to find that link, you can just look up Flock League, youtube.com/Flock League, or click the chat right now. Or if you want to go to the meetup with us, you can go to flockfantasy.store, Grab a ticket. It's only 15 bucks. I'm going to be giving away free merch. I just need to tell the venue how many people are coming. That's why we have sell tickets. I'm very sorry. It's only 15 bucks and you're getting free merch, half price beer. Should be a ton of fun. It's in Austin, Texas, August 22nd. You can see the details there and also go to flockfantasy.store if you want a ticket. It should be a ton of fun. And if you're coming from out of town and getting a hotel, just email me your hotel confirmation and let me know how many tickets you want and the tickets will be free for you. Like I said, I just really need to know how many people are coming to tell the venue. So DeAndre Swift off the board. So if you're looking at quarterbacks that are going to be in play for us here, Dak Prescott, not necessarily. We don't have Ferguson. We don't have Lamb. I don't have to force Brandon Cooks later on. I'll take an unstacked Dak if we're going to get him at a value according to ADP. But here, if we're going to reach on Dak Prescott at ADP and not have a stack at the same time, that does feel pretty bad. So instead, we're probably going to pivot over to a running back. Now, going back to what we were discussing previously, surrounding my conversation about taking Xavier Worthy where we did, taking Jonathan Brooks at 93, player that can miss the beginning of the season, not great, not playing the preseason, not great, but phenomenal decision-making, and we get an insight into that by his decision to go to the University of Texas and be a Texas Longhorn. Hook 'em horns. Let's go. Tova says, Mason, I'm a mother flocker in my home leagues drafts tomorrow. Is there any chance you update the draft guide before tomorrow night? Go to my rankings on the site. Go to rankings 2024 and then click filter Mason Dodd. All my rankings are updated. In terms of updating the PDF, we're doing that every Sunday, but you should see the updated rankings right now, my friend. I updated those earlier today. Let's go. Brock Purdy off the board at 96 to a team that took Brandon Ayuk and McCaffrey. Getting excited about McCaffrey staying in town, I see. One thing that we can do is we can go with an unstacked Jaden Daniels here. Bowers, I'm not going to be super big fan of grabbing in this range. I think we're going to go take an unstacked Jaden Daniels based off the rushing upside that he has. I think we can target Jahan Dotson a little later on. And we still have the ability to potentially take 3 quarterbacks depending on where we take our second QB. In terms of CeeDee Lamb news, to be honest with you, I didn't really see much. I'll go ahead and I'll pull stuff up. But last I saw, CeeDee Lamb's not at training camp. Dallas hasn't paid him. Both sides. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's getting frustrated. Is there anything else that I maybe have missed? Let me pull this up. Okay. Yeah, the last thing I can see with CeeDee Lamb is the LOL. And then Lamb having his header of him in Hollywood, and Hollywood having his header with him and Lamb. Here's what the Cowboys need to do, all right? Give CeeDee Lamb his money. Stop messing around. You don't need to pay Dak. Give Lamb his money. Trade away Dak Prescott and make Trey Lance a starter. Come on. Bada boom, bada bang. Hire me as the general manager, and I'll fix this ship right up. Obviously, I'm not serious. Just for anybody new here, I'm joking. Zach, happy to see you, my friend, and good luck in your drafts. Have a great weekend. Okay, let's move this over. Henry says, why are we not liking the stream? I have no idea how many likes we're at, but if we hit 300, we will fire up another draft after this. So if you have not done so already, go down there, drop that like, ladies and gentlemen. But let's move this over. Jared Goff off the board, 110. A little early for Goff. Shakir goes 112. I love this report with Singletary. It's super funny. Singletary didn't play in the Giants' first preseason game against Detroit. And New York's running game produced 155 ground yards and 2 touchdowns on 27 carries. That Singletary didn't play in the team's initial preseason matchup further emphasizes what it was already given. He'll be the lead back. Thank you. I may have missed that. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So once we take Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson's not really in play for us, right? We don't want to be taking both running backs that probably won't have roles early on, but we're drafting them for their late season upside. Would put us in a little bit of an awkward spot. We will go ahead and we will take Dallas Goedert here. And also, we're a little less incentivized to go wide receiver because I really only want to draft one more wide receiver with this team. And we're looking for the Jaden Daniels stack, right? So we don't want to be taking Jahan Dotson later on if we can. Okay. 80 Mitchell off the board, 118. In terms of quarterbacks, we could go ahead and we could take Tua on the way back around 11. Because if you look at the Tyreek team has already taken Anthony Richardson. So we'll see if they decide to take Tua. Maybe, maybe not. Now, Mr. Picklefoot Hut Fader. I can never say your name, my guy. Pick 11 into Poodle. Harrison Adams, unique start. Laporta T, Keenan White, Stevenson Swift, Lockett Singletary, Goff stacked with Laporta, Dotson Leggett. I think it's a unique team. Not necessarily my favorite team, but definitely unique compared to the rest of the field. Okay. Now, Lawrence off the board. Mike Williams goes. Like I said, good for us. We're typically not going to be looking to go wide receiver in this range. What we're actually going to do here, which may be a little surprising to some people, I think we're going to go running back with the expectation that Tua may make it back to us in round 12. The reason being is this: if you look at the teams after us, the vast majority of them do have badges. So the assumption is that a lot of these teams kind of know what they're doing. Most teams who know what they're doing, right or wrong, won't take Tua if they don't have Waddle or Tyreek. So I think that there's a good shot that we're actually able to get Tua on the way back around, whereas we will see that teardrop at running back. Now, in general, if you look at this tier of running backs with Gus Edwards, Trey Benson, Blake Corum, I prefer Trey Benson. I think for weeks 15, 16, 17, Trey Benson is the guy in this group that does have the upside to potentially win leagues in the fantasy football playoffs. But the reason I don't take him here and instead the reason I take Gus Edwards is we already draft Jonathan Brooks, and Jonathan Brooks is another example of a running back that you kind of need to cover his production at the beginning of the season. You shouldn't expect that he's going to give you much early on, but you're drafting him for his ceiling in weeks 15, 16, 17. So I don't know if we want to be taking Brooks and Benson on the same team, even though for Best Ball Mania, be completely honest, I actually do really like both their prices. Teague says, who would win in an MMA fight? Trey Lance and Dak Prescott versus Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Please spam the chat and let me know what y'all think. I think this is the easiest question in the world. Who would win in an MMA fight? Lance and Dak versus Russ and Fields. I'll let you give your opinion before I give mine because I don't want to cloud some judgment here, but I think this is a very easy one. We got 1 vote Cowboys, 1 vote Steelers, 1 vote Cowboys, 1 vote Steelers. Cowboys, Steelers. It's literally split 50-50. Tresner says Fields would beat all three. What are you talking? Okay. It's the Cowboys. I'm sorry. Half of y'all are wrong. It does look... This is my thought process. Matt says Russ is too old, probably has no... Imagine Russell Wilson in a fight. Russell Wilson versus Trey Lance. Are you kidding me? That fight would be literally Russell Wilson standing on the side of the ring going, get him, Justin, get him. Get him, Justin. Maybe Fields could take 2-on-1, but Russ isn't helping in that situation. Zach of Trade says Trey Lance is a twig. Let me pull up a recent picture of Trey Lance. We'll figure this out. Trey Lance training camp. The guy who's been editing YouTube shorts and stuff for us has been freaking crushing it in terms of finding training camp clips. Way better at it than I am. Okay. Look at Lance is always wearing long sleeves. Okay, we are going to get Tua just like we discussed previously, rolling the dice that Tua makes it back. Here he does. We get him at pick 141. The guy that doesn't make it to us is Jahan Dotson, which does kind of suck, right? I mean, we do want the Dotson and Daniels stack. Dotson goes at 145. Was I an idiot to think that he would have fallen? What's the ADP of Jahan Dotson? ADP 139. So we were rolling the dice that we were going to get him. It probably would have been very difficult to get him and Tua. Maybe that was a little bit of an oversight by us, but we can still go Ben Sinnott later on. And at the same time, Jaden Daniels does primarily have a ton of rushing upside, right? But Jan says, Mr. Unlimited, Jan, my guy, do not tell anybody, but you may be invited to the Flock League with a bunch of creators if you wanted. You'd have to be available August 21st, though. Let me know if you're available August 21st. Sundog says, Dad sport coat. My guy, this is from Goodwill, and it's approximately 5 sizes too big. So if your dad donated this sports coat within the last, I got this like a year ago, within the last 2 years, it could be your dad's sports coat, to be honest with you. So not great news when it comes to Hawkinson here. Not great news when it comes to Sticky Ricky. I think we maybe go Marshawn Lloyd and lock up all the Green Bay touches. Where I'm getting a little nervous is just the raw amount of rookies that we have on this team. Whether it is... Whether it's right or wrong, right? I'm not saying this is how you should think about things, but I sit here and go, what are the odds that all these rookies pan out for us? How many of them do we need to pan out? And because some of them have to hit early on in the year too, if we're going to be able to advance this team. And we go rookie with Xavier Worthy round 6, rookie with Ladd McConkey round 7, rookie with Jonathan Brooks round 8, rookie with Jaden Daniels round 9, and now a rookie with Marshawn Lloyd round 13. It is a spot I don't feel great about. Don't feel great about it. Lucas says, does Quentin Johnston still have a chance? So y'all know I have drafted an embarrassing amount of Quentin Johnston in Underdog Best Ball drafts where he's being drafted as like the wide receiver 75. And I've discussed that on Underdog, you draft someone like wide receiver 75 and he turns out to be the wide receiver 36. It's actually a great draft pick and it's a profitable pick. However, in your regular redraft league, if you draft Quentin Johnston, wide receiver 70 or whatever it is, and then he turns out to be wide receiver 36, it doesn't matter at all. Okay. Matt says, got an 8-team league with super flex plus 4 flex spots on top of starters. What should my draft strategy be and how to value quarterbacks versus deep position player lineups? So if you're thinking about quarterback in an 8-team super flex league, on average, everybody's going to have 4 starting quarterbacks. If you look at Superflex rankings and you look at one quarterback rankings, in an 8-team Superflex league, quarterback is going to be closer to valued as a 1 QB league than a Superflex format, just because there will be more than enough quarterback production to go around. Like, do not be taking a quarterback in round 1. Now, with that being said, having 4 flex spots, I know it sounds like a lot. It's really not in an 8-team league. It's not like depth is going to be super valuable. Let's say you start 2 quarterbacks 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and 4 flex spots. That's starting 10 guys in your lineup each week, not kicker or defense. That's 80 players across the entire league. Whereas in a regular league that maybe starts 7 guys, like 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 1 flex, and a 12-team format, there you start 84. So it's not really like that deep of a league. Chuba Hubbard goes 163. Really upsets me because Hubbard's like by far and away the easiest pick for this team here. After Hubbard goes, I have no idea what to do. I don't want to be taking rookies. I wasn't going to go Ray Davis no matter what. I think we make the boring pick. We probably go ahead. We take Adam Thielen 165 as our last wide receiver. We need some experience in this wide receiver room. I need somebody that's going to be able to come out. I need somebody that's going to be able to teach these youngins how it's done. So we'll take Adam Thielen, 165. John says 500 likes, boys. I'll DoorDash Mason Yellow Curry. Nothing better than some yellow curry. I actually ate dinner from Central Market. Their little cafe. Got something to go. Phenomenal. Very impressed. Shout out Central Market. Okay, so Noah Fant, Tyler Conklin, both off. How bad is this Hunter Henry report for him to be falling this far? Henry didn't play in Thursday's preseason opener versus the Panthers. Henry suited up Thursday but did not play, so it's possible that the tight end could be managing a minor injury. In any case, while there are plenty of snaps for the Patriots' crowded wide receiver room, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter too much. Okay, Hunter Henry's gone. Here, we are no longer taking wide receiver. We have Chase, Waddle, Evans, Pickens, Worthy, Ladd, now Adam Thielen. We're done. We're exclusively running back, quarterback, tight ends. We don't even have to take another quarterback if we don't want to with Daniels too. I do think it's in play, though, in the super late rounds. If we're looking at this, my rule at this point is I don't want to take another rookie on this team. Right or wrong, we have 5 rookies. I don't want 30% of my lineup to be consisting of rookies. So I think we may go with another dusty old vet. We may go with Antonio Gibson here. And every time we draft Antonio Gibson, I got to say, there's no better fantasy football draft strategy than taking backup running backs in what project out to be the worst offense in the NFL. It is just so smart. It's the way you got to go about it. Like it's perfect. Perfect. Now, wide receiver, we have Chase, Waddle, Evans, Pickens, Worthy, Ladd, Adam Thielen. Running back, we have Jacobs, Jonathan Brooks, Gus Edwards, Marshawn Lloyd, Antonio Gibson. Quarterback, we have Daniels and Tua. Tight end, we have Dallas Goedert. We're definitely taking 2 more tight ends. I think the last decision that we have is, do we go with a 3rd quarterback or do we go with a 6th running back? Let's see. Okay, it says 300 and easy money. Have we hit 300 likes? If we hit 300 likes, we are going to fire up another draft after this one, which what I'll probably do is just make our round 16, 17 picks and then go into another. Spree Dog says 30 to go. Okay, so if we don't hit it, please, for the love of God, don't be mad at me if we end it. And then as I'm ending it, all of a sudden, then everybody decides to like and screams at me, oh my gosh, Mason, you liar, blah, blah, blah. So don't scream at me. TJ says, Rams were an outlier in Vegas lines last year with 10 wins. Another bottom 6 team will be better than projected. My friend, we actually went through and we actually showed the math of that historically. And out of like the 50 sample teams that we had looked at, there were, I want to say, 6 examples of teams that were projected to be in the bottom 5 that were good over the past 10 years. 6 out of like the 50. Maybe it was like 4 out of the 50, something like that. So do not sit here and think, oh, just because the Rams were projected to be a bad offense and they turned out to be good last year, that means that's guaranteed to happen again. That means we're either going to get the Pats to be very good or the Panthers to be very good. There's a chance that they're bad, which we showed all the historical data. Look at the video that's titled Hacking Fantasy Football Drafts, or How to Hack Your Fantasy Football Draft. And we dive into all the historical data for you. Okay. So we are looking at quarterback, tight ends, running back here. Greg Dortch goes 187. My rule, whether it's idiotic or not, is I don't feel like I want to draft another rookie. We need another running back. This running back room is disgusting. I don't think we're taking a third quarterback. I think we're only running back, tight end. Oh my gosh. Elijah Mitchell's no longer the backup instead of Sco. It's Jordan Mason. I need one word for y'all. Just one word response. I need help with this. I've been panicking. You see how painful this is for me. And it's been painful, and I've been doing this in slow drafts lately. One word response in the chat is taking Kondre Miller at the end of the draft, at end of drafts right now, good or bad. Just let me know, good or bad. Because I've been doing it. I've felt absolutely god-awful about doing it. Is taking Miller good or bad? Vinny hits us with a clown. No, genius, bad, good, bad. Good, bad, bad, good. Bad, decent, bad. Good, bad, not bad. I feel real bad doing it. Kate says high risk, low reward. Honestly, probably correct. Probably right. That's a good way to put it. Okay. Let's move this over. We are just tied in through the rest of this. I know I said I didn't want another rookie. I can't do it. We're going to go Jawan. I'll queue up tight ends at the end here. We'll go Sanat. Maybe we mix in Zach Ertz. Get one of these guys for our Daniels pairing. But we're going to take a tight end with our last pick. But let's move this over. We are going to go into our next Best Ball Mania draft. And hopefully this one feels a little more comfortable. I've been talking about this for a while now, and I do think I know this sounds like the most ridiculous thing ever. I think I need to see a therapist or something about my late round picks this year. Because we get to around 16, 17, 18. My brain just completely shuts down. I have no idea what to do. And I have no confidence in any of our decisions at all. And I think the reason is the guys that absolutely won leagues, won like millions of dollars on Underdog last year, were Puka, Kyron, Tank Dell. I drafted literally none of them. I don't know if that scarred me and I can't get over it because we get to rounds like 17 and 18. I just feel so anxious. I just go, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I typically know what positions to draft. It's just that range of the draft. I don't see anybody and go, oh, that's my guy. That's my guy. Tresner says, bro, let me make your late round picks then. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to start crowdsourcing our late round picks. Round 17 and 18 from now on, I'm going to start crowdsourcing them. Yes, I know I don't listen. JN says Whittington. Some people have been mixing in Jordan Whittington, my guy. I did tell him the story of how, I had a class with Whittington. What's weird is, and maybe I'm making this up. I swear I don't think I am. We're going to take CeeDee Lamb. I'm not concerned. I think he's a Dallas Cowboy. I think they figured this out. but I swear I had a class with Jordan Whittington the second semester of my sophomore year in college, when Jordan Whittington should have, like, he didn't get to campus till the next year. Jan, you'll know this better than I do, but did Whittington get to UT's campus early or something? Was he like on campus at 17 years old? Hayden says, what are the most important league settings for a 10-team one quarterback? Specifically, how many wide receiver flex bench spots would you recommend for the best experience? 10-team league, I would recommend 3 wide receiver slots, 2 flex spots, 2 running backs, 1 quarterback, 1 tight end, kicker, defense, and then about probably 8 bench spots or 7 bench spots if you have the expanded starting lineup. Okay. Yeah, I saw the same like tweet regarding like Ayuk and Amari, blah, blah, blah. And then it took me a second. I went, oh my gosh, did I really miss this? And I realized, oh, it's not actually done. Teague says, I helped Kareem Hunt stay eligible in college. Crazy. Jen says, I think he early enrolled, but it would have been half a semester early at best. I swear I thought the second semester sophomore year I had class with them. I know my junior year I had a class with both Colin Johnson. I think Colin and Duvernay. At minimum, Colin Johnson. Vinny says, I was thinking about that earlier. Your top 5 wide receiver videos are legit. Wondering if you do top 5 late round draft winners. Example, Puka Kyron over the past 4 Best Ball Manias and see if there are any trends. The thing is, if you were looking for like the week 17 and week 18 winners of Best Ball Mania, you had Puka, you had Kyron, but outside of that, really, has there been another guy? It was really just last year that week 17 and week 18 was like everything. Jan says he was at Texas January 2019. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I'm telling you, the kid was 17 years old in my class. Jorge says, finally in a draft with you at Pick 10. Let's freaking go, my guy. Let's go. Okay. Cup goes pick 13. I think going London Cup is very bad in this tournament. Very, 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 very bad. The reason being is if you were only looking at teams that have been drafted over the past, say, month, then yes, this London Cup start is unique. However, back in May, back in June, Cooper Kupp used to make it to the end of the 3rd round. Drake London would go at the beginning of the 2nd round. So here going London Cup, you're going to have to go up against other teams that took like Breece Hall round 1, Drake London round 2, and then Cooper Kupp round 3. So you're essentially missing a 1st round pick in comparison to those other teams. So I think 12 would be interesting with the way that draft boards are laid out right now to come up with a unique start. If drafts have only been this way for the past month, but if you consider the Best Ball Mania drafts that were taken months ago, I don't think you can. Okay, Waddle off the board at 20. Olave goes. I'm not the biggest Adams fan, but I do think Lamb Adams will be pretty unique compared to the rest of the field. And this is a decent cost on Adams, right? I mean, we are getting him at wide receiver. 9 guys go in the first, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We are getting him wide receiver 16. Evans goes 24. Honestly, I think now I'm for sure going to be going with Ayuk, with it looking like he is going to stay a Niner. A lot of drafts this offseason, too, had Ayuk going in the middle of the 2nd round next to Adams. So I think this will be a very unique start, and I think you should be giving the Ayuk bump if he is going to be staying in San Francisco this next year. Freedom says, I love you, Mason, but that coat looks like you're getting included in the fantasy Hall of Lame, JK. I agree with you, my friend. This is definitely the backup one. Y'all know I drop off the coats to get dry cleaned about once a year. And you can tell because I'll be wearing this gold one. And sadly, today you're having to deal with the one day that the coats are in the shop. All right. They're getting dry cleaned. I'll be picking them back up tomorrow. You'll get the usual gray. You'll get the usual navy blue. You won't have to deal with the Goodwill. It's 5 sizes too big for me. $10 coat that we're rocking tonight. So just you wait. All right. I'm right now in my little cocoon phase. I'll be a butterfly again tomorrow. Okay. Honestly, we did merch. I mean, I made a bunch of merch for people coming to the meetup. I really should have made the merch design like a sport jacket. That would have been perfect. But Dustin says, I really like the start Team 4 has. Team 4 goes Chase, Nico, Smith. Sets themselves up with some pretty nice ability to go with some good quarterbacks in the middle rounds. Like if you have Jalen Hurts making it to you there at 45, perfect. If not, you could go with CJ Stroud, pick 76. You could go Burrow, 93. So they put themselves in a really good spot in terms of quarterback values later on. Okay. Rashee Rice all the way up to 37. Flying up boards. It does seem like the Laporta-Allen combo is pretty common. Maybe I've found myself doing it maybe a little too often. Travis Kelce off the board at 39 to pair up with Pacheco. Henry says, I missed round 7, Rice. I'm kind of disappointed in myself because in years past, I've been very good about drafting the guys that were perceived suspension risk and just taking the discount on them saying, okay, it's a tournament. Who cares? If they miss time, I was probably going to lose this injury anyway. But if they don't, then they could be massive hits. Like I was really good previously of taking Kamara at a massive discount. But I did not get nearly as much Rashee Rice in round 7 as I should have. Like maybe it's because like I was more confident something was going to happen with Rice. There were actually like photos of the incident. And but I don't know. Let's move this down. Lamar goes 45, so it does kind of wipe our ability away to go with the Lamar Andrews pairing. Higgins off the board. If we go Mahomes here, I kind of feel the need to force something. I think we're just going to take Trey McBride. So I really don't want to take Xavier Worthy. I really don't want to take Hollywood Brown at pick 50. I would have loved Higgins, but it is what it is. So we'll go McBride 47, and we're going to go Jacobs pick 50. And taking McBride does give us the ability to go Kyler if we want to later. Okay. Let's see. Kincaid, Andrews, both off. So, yeah, that team at 4 ends up getting the Lamar Andrews stack. Which, personally, if I am drafting in the early first, it is always my goal to come away with Lamar Andrews. Which, actually, in the marathon drafts, which I've been doing some of, it's very easy to get Lamar Andrews. And even if you don't get Lamar Andrews, sometimes Flowers makes it to round 5 in that tournament. So you can take Lamar round 4 while pretty confidently setting yourself up with either Andrews or Flowers in round 5. Perum says, how do you make your own contest league on Underdog? My friend, you gotta have the hookup. Obviously, we are sponsored by Underdog. And there are a decent amount of us in this community. So Underdog was willing to hook us up with the Flock Community Contest. It's not like anybody can just go through and say, oh, yeah, I won $1 million prize pool tournament. Here you go, Underdog. Doesn't exactly work that way. Okay. But Keenan goes 56. It's crazy to see Mahomes all the way down at 55. If you were looking at the teams that passed on Mahomes, I think I probably would have taken Mahomes at 53 over Anthony Richardson. Because you go Mahomes there is an outside chance that you either get Hollywood or Worthy making it back to you at 68. So we'll see. BJN says, will you do a party when you hit 500,000 subs or at 1 million? I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, my friend, but I don't think that I will never hit 1 million subscribers. Which honestly, I'm already... Like, I don't really care, to be completely honest with y'all. Like, let me look. How many subscribers do the fantasy footballers have? They have 362. Yeah, the fantasy footballers are at 362,000 subs. There's no way we ever hit 1 million, my guy. But definitely don't care about that. I mean, I never thought... I still remember whenever I first set up a Patreon and had $3 subscriptions, and this is back whenever, this is a long time ago, and whenever like one person would buy it, I would lose my mind and call my dad and go, oh my gosh, someone's paying me $3 a month for fantasy football. And he even thought it was crazy. So yeah, like, to be honest with you, I think I'm really, really comfortable with where we're at now. Like I'm just very like happy to have what we have. Like I don't think we'll ever hit 1 million subscribers, but I don't care. Brendan says fantasy football would be way too difficult if Flock had 1 million subs. I just don't think enough people play it. Kate says you just need a celebrity box, one of the BDG guys. I think it would be very fun to box, but I did have brain surgery when I was a baby, so if I get hit in the head, I'm done skis. So for the love of God, nobody hit me in the head at the Flock meetup, or you will have a murder charge on your hands. Okay, Chris Godwin goes 69, and Jaden Reed. Why? I would have been over the moon to get either guy there. I think that we just kind of want to take the guys that are in good offenses. So we're going to take Christian Watson here over Deontay Johnson. Christian Watson fell a little bit in drafts based off an injury that he suffered early in the week, which obviously you see Christian Watson injury, full-blown panic sets in, but it sounds like Christian Watson should be good to go now. And we are kind of in on betting on good offenses here with Jacobs, Watson. We're in on Green Bay. And then afterwards, I think this is a spot where the teardrop's there where I'm not like super in love with any of the players, feel like we have to get him here. I think we can go ahead and just take Kyler and have Kyler paired up with McBride. It's a stack that, to be honest with you, I don't have that much of, just because I am taking a lot more Kincaid, Mark Andrews than I am Trey McBride. Like, let me tell you how much I've drafted these Arizona guys. But I feel like I don't have much of them at all. Arizona. I have 13% Trey Benson, 9% Michael Wilson, 8% Kyler, 7% Harrison, 6% McBride, only 2% James Conner. Like, I'm not drafting Conner very often. Okay. But, of course, real quick, if you don't know what we are doing here, we are drafting on Underdog Fantasy. These are best ball drafts, so there's no time commitment at all during the season. It's how I draft hundreds of teams every year. It's how I won $150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And of course, if you want to join a draft with us, you can find that link in the description, in the comment section, in the live chat. If you use code FLOCK, you will get my 2024 rankings, my 2024 fantasy football draft guide, 2024 ADP consensus cheat sheet, all three of which will be updated every Sunday till the season starts for you. And also with code FLOCK, you'll get an exclusive Christian McCaffrey special pick'em, more than less than half a total rushing yard for week 1. All you got to do is use code FLOCK, make a $10 deposit on Underdog, link in the description. You do have to be in one of these states, though, if you want to get into a draft with us. You can see it on the screen. Okay. Now, Aaron Jones off the board at 80. James Conner goes 79. Spree Dog says 110 for 500 likes. Hit that likes. The good fellow says, I still watch the footballers. Just take everything they say with a grain of salt like I do with everyone. Make up my own minds on things. Be honest, I don't watch any fantasy football stuff anymore. Since I started doing it every single day, I found a lot more success in both my own content and my own drafts. Not listening to because I used to, back whenever I first started going to school, I was all in Dynasty, like Dynasty. That's my bread and butter. That's what I've loved forever. I would like wake up and I had a rotation of like 20 different podcasts that I would listen to. I was never into watching. I always watch YouTube videos all the time now, but back then I would never really watch fantasy football YouTube stuff. It didn't really exist. Now, at least I didn't think it did. Come to find out it actually did. But I would just listen to like these super niche Dynasty podcasts, which looking back on them, I thought at the time, before I knew more about the industry, that they were like, people that it was their job to make these Dynasty podcasts and they are big and blah, blah, blah. Looking back at the podcasts that I listened to, because some of them are still around, I now know more about the industry to know that they probably have like 15 listeners per podcast, and I was one of them, you know? So like I would just listen to these like super niche things from like the time I woke up to the time I go to bed. What I found was like listening to like 15 different things. It was just all an echo chamber where like somebody would hype Chris Godwin and then, Godwin gets more hype, right? And it just doesn't stop, and it becomes into a pissing contest of who can rank the hype guy the highest, who can rank the hype guy the highest. So, and also because obviously this is my job now, I'm better at it if I do my own research and don't have the biases that come from like kind of just plugging myself into the echo chamber and the hype cycles in general. But yeah, I used to listen to like Dynasty podcasts from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. I've actually never listened to a footballers episode fully. I've seen like clips of them. I can 100% see why they are the biggest people in the space, though. I mean, one, they've been around forever. Two, their production quality is freaking nuts. And being in person is just awesome. I got to imagine that they're awesome. Okay. Jordan says, what do you do from March to August? So in the past, what I used to do is I used to make videos every single day, year round. Because I love Dynasty Fantasy Football, so Dynasty is year round. Now, I think what I'm going to do instead is I think I'm going to cut down dramatically, and I'm going to go and still do my usual 80, 90-hour work weeks during the football season. But in January through May, from here on out, I'm going to do like one video a week for Dynasty. I'm going to really relax. I'm just going to focus in on flockfantasy.com, trying to make the site the best that it can be with the developers, and focus in on everything on that front and getting ready for the season rather than making videos every single day during the off season. Okay. Now, Hopkins off the board at pick 91. Let's see what we get here at 95. We took Brooks in the last draft. I really like Jonathan Brooks specifically in Best Ball Mania because I think he's one of these guys that will have a lower advance rate overall. However, we'll give you a very high ceiling for weeks 15, 16, 17, which is typically kind of the profile that I'm going for. Joe Burrow off the board. So we're actually going to get one of my favorite picks. We're going to get Jordan Addison, wide receiver 48. We're going to get him at pick 95. I would not be surprised if Jordan Addison does not get suspended this year, and I would not be surprised if Jordan Addison just straight up crushes. Now, after we take Addison, there are a couple different things that we could consider here. Because Dak Prescott goes to pick 97, what I think I'm actually going to do is I think we're going to take our second quarterback here. We will go with Jordan Love. We'll pair up Love with Christian Watson. We also have Jacobs on the team. Not that that matters too much. But we will put ourselves in a position where we only need to be drafting 2 quarterbacks, and we're going to be able to slam running backs in the upcoming rounds. So we will figure this out. But yeah, looks like Jalen Wright, big time day today. 10 rushes, 55 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown to go along with it. Okay. Let's move this over. So now wide receiver, we have Lamb, Adams, Ayuk, Christian Watson, Jordan Addison. Tight end, we have McBride stacked up with Kyler. Running back, we only have Josh Jacobs for the time being. And we have Jordan Love stacked with Christian Watson and Josh Jacobs. Sound says Jacobs round 5 is crazy. He's going to the beginning of round 3 in Yahoo. I think Jacobs, honestly, in all formats is a great value. He's still incredibly young. The thing is, if you let me pull up the contract too. Actually, this is really surprising. Josh Jacobs signs a $48 million contract this offseason. How much of this do you think is guaranteed? How much of Josh Jacobs' $48 million do you think is guaranteed? Please let me know in the live chat. Ren says 30. Dry says 15. 24. 12, 24, 15. Full, definitely not full. Hopefully over 25. Yeah, the answer, only 12.5 is guaranteed. That's actually really surprising. I mean, 12.5 million guaranteed isn't that surprising for a running back. But what's surprising about it is the 48 million total number for only 12.5 guaranteed. But if you look at Jacobs, he's only going into his like age 26 season. Like Jacobs, his birthday's February 98, whereas like Henry's is January 94. Significantly younger, larger receiving workload, better contracts. Both are respectable offenses that should be in a similar range. Like I do really like Jacobs at cost. Okay. Sound Server says he seems like a vet at this point, but still so young. Yeah, the thing with Jacobs is he came out of Alabama and he played his rookie season like 20 years old. Just so damn young. Like what's really funny is Jacobs drafted in 2019. Najee drafted in 2021. And Najee Harris and Josh Jacobs are the same age. Like, but literally, they're like 20 days apart. Okay, so Tony Pollard off the board, 115. I know Dontavian Wicks obviously correlates with Love. We already have Watson. I think we more so need to be prioritizing running back in this range when we're only sitting with Josh Jacobs so far. So y'all know in the last draft, we did not take Trey Benson specifically because... You know what I'm going to do? I know this is weird and maybe boring. And maybe it's not something you should do. But I just love the idea of it. I love the idea of just getting every single Cleveland Brown running back touch and only having to invest pick 119, 120, 122 to do just that. So we're going to reach on both Jerome Ford as well as Nick Chubb. Now at running back, we have Jacobs, Ford, Chubb. I think we have a nice combo of production at the beginning of the year to hopefully advance us to the playoff tournament. And then maybe the ceiling from Chubb during the final 3 weeks. But we'll see. Jorge says, Jerome Chubb, I think it's going to be sick. Am I wrong? So obviously Deonta Foreman, significant. Is Foreman a factor? Is he out? The man had to be hospitalized. But last I read, he had no permanent damage. He's back practicing. Is he good? Kate says he's practicing again. Yeah, I'm looking at clips of that. Jimmy says, I think Foreman will be back with the team. If Foreman's in play and if Foreman has a role this year, then this decision to go with Ford, Chubb at the turn, probably not nearly as good. Okay. Let's move this over. Hawkinson goes 133. Herbert, Zeke. Let's move this over. Yeah, so it does look like Polk and, I'm sorry, not Polk and Zeke. Dowdle and Zeke are just going to completely flip ADP here. Where pretty much every draft you get into now, Zeke goes after Dowdle. Henry says, I miss 16th round JK. Yeah, J.K. Dobbins definitely going up. As J.K. Dobbins should be going up, right? As a perfect example of somebody that has been moving based off of good news and not just, training camp hype. He looks good. So what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? Looks like this is the draft that John Dotson's going to fall. Not the draft that we needed him to fall in, but he's fallen nonetheless. See, Mooney off 139. What's funny is Charbonnet's the best running back available to us. If he makes it, we'll see. But we have 3 running backs already with a week 10 bye. So honestly, I feel like maybe we get a little saved with Charbonnet off. Dear God, I have no idea where we want to go. We're going to go Dotson because we probably preferred it. We need a receiver and a running back at the turn. If you look at the team after us, I was more confident that they would take a receiver than a running back. They go with Marshawn Lloyd and Tyler Algier? Well, it looks like I completely misread what they were doing. Could not have been more wrong. Oof. Do we take Leggett, call it a day as our last wide receiver? I think we're going to do that. We're going to go Leggett, call it a day. Before the Ayuk news, where it sounds like Ayuk is now negotiating again with the Niners and may stay in San Francisco, I think we would have gone Sticky Ricky over Xavier Leggett. But here I think we're going to go Leggett. The good fellow says pass again and go Downs. I'm not going to take Downs over Leggett. I think the high ankle sprain and what both passing offenses should be low volume, but still, I don't think we can do it. Okay, so let's move this over. So wide receiver now we have Lamb, Adams, Ayuk, Watson, Addison, Jahan Dotson, Xavier Legette. Quarterback we have Kyler, Jordan Love. We have Kyler paired up with McBride. We have Love paired up with Watson and Jacobs, if that matters. It's going to be a team where we need to find some running backs. For the love of God, let's find some running backs. Cameron says, Mason, do you think Joe Milton is a stash in Dynasty now? I mean, obviously, Dynasty is a little unique in that you're just going to have so many roster spots. So if you're in a super flex league with a zillion roster spots, sure, you can go with it. But he's a 6th round NFL draft pick at quarterback that doesn't have a realistic path to starting. Like, I'd rather roster Hendon Hooker than I would Milton. Okay. Good for us to see quarterbacks going, because we get to these late rounds, I get lost. I'm an idiot. But what I do know is we're not taking another quarterback. That's for sure. Daniel Jones goes, great for us. Let's move this around. So it looks like Tucker Kraft has had some positive news. Now, of course, if Musgrave were to make it back to us based off ADP and us having Jordan Love, we would go with him. But Tucker Kraft also definitely in play for us in round 18 with this team. But main thing is we're probably going to be trying to find some running backs that we like. Adam Thielen off 158, Quentin Johnson 159. We're done at wide receiver as well, so it's good to see these guys go. Okay. Kazan says, where's the special guest tonight, Mason? I'll get her over here. Molly, you come here, baby? She's comfy in her spot. She doesn't want to come over. I did give her 1,000 French fries today. She's feeling good. She's feeling good. Okay, Jaleel goes. Geno Smith off the board. I doubt we get Musgrave. There are 3 teams in front of with only 1 tight end. Not a position that we were in the last draft. In the last draft, we were sitting with like 5 rookies at this point where I didn't want to take another. Here, I definitely think we can afford to go with another rookie. Really, like, the only thing is, at this point at running back, I'm probably not wanting to take another guy with a week 10 bye if all else is equal. Oh, we're done at quarterback. I don't know why we're showing those. Michael Wilson off. This is another draft that Hunter Henry has fallen. There are a bunch of tight ends, though, here. Ray Davis goes. Dear God, what are we doing? I've hated drafting next to these 2 teams. The Buster Boys and the Splascon. I've hated drafting next to them. This team goes Tyler Conklin. The team after us has 6 running backs and only 1 tight end. So they're for sure in play to take a tight end, but not another running back. So go Hunter Henry and Antonio Gibson. Will double tap some of the worst offenses in the NFL here. And will not feel great about it. Now we're definitely going to take 2 more running backs And then our last spot, I think we have some flexibility. I think we could go ahead and we could take another tight ends. Okay. But wide receiver, we have Lamb, Adams, Ayuk, Watson, Addison, Dotson, Leggett. Quarterback, we have Kyler stacked up with McBride. Love with Watson. Running back, we have Jacobs, Ford, Chubb, Gibson. Weakness of the team, definitely running back. Definitely relying on Jacobs here. Let me see how much Jacobs we have. I honestly thought I had more Jacobs. I have 11% Josh Jacobs in 2024 drafts. But let me see about the other drafts. The sprints, I have Jacobs in 10%. I guess maybe it's just because I take the elite tight ends there a lot. The eliminator, I have Jacobs in 16%. Okay. Teague says, Mason, if you could pick 18 players, do you think you could beat the field for an entire season? What do you mean by this? Like, if I could pick my highest ranked 18 guys, could I outscore every other team in, like, the marathon? I think I could. Because if you can pick the highest projected 18 players, 18 is a lot, my guy. Teague says pick any 18 people, they would outscore everyone else. So typically, whenever we always look at like people saying like, oh, the 101s, oh, you don't want to take Christian McCaffrey because whoever's taking that pick 1 never turns out to be the number 1 overall player. There, we always explain like, oh, no, you just don't understand. The rest of the field obviously has a significantly higher percentage chance of being the actual top player versus the guy, the only one player that's drafted at pick 1 every year. But if you have the ability to take 18 guys, so we can go through and at wide receiver, we go, okay, I'm going to have 7 receivers. Those 7 wide receivers are Lamb, Tyreek, Chase, Jefferson, A.J. Brown, St. Brown, Garrett Wilson. Oh, I'm going to take 5 running backs. Those running backs are CMC, Brees, Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor. I'm going to take 2 tight ends. I'm going to take 3 tight ends. I'm going to take Laporta, Kelsey, McBride. Take 3 quarterbacks. I'm going to take Allen, Hurts, Lamar. Like, you can afford to miss because you can roster 18 guys. You would outscore every other team in the field. You would. This is a funny comment. Ren says, 2017, I picked Tom Brady at 1. Needless to say, I lost my league. This is one of the earliest memories I have, and this is so random. But I remember like Thanksgiving one year when I was extremely little in Norman, Oklahoma, visiting family for Thanksgiving. And this must have been like my second year playing fantasy football, something like that. And it was the top of the leagues, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. And I'm just sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh, I really hope I get the number 1 pick next year. I really hope I get one of these quarterbacks. I distinctly remember sitting there thinking, I just need an elite level quarterback. If I had Peyton Manning on, my team would be unstoppable. And like just as like a little, I have no idea how old I was, but I have the distinct memory of just like daydreaming about getting an elite quarterback, thinking that if I took a quarterback round 1 and I was able to get a high enough round 1 pick for my quarterback, that would solve all my problems. Needless to say, probably didn't. I don't remember, but we are only running back running back tight end through the rest of this. If we are taking another tight end, probably Tucker Kraft. I think we can go 2 running backs. Roshan started to go undrafted in a lot of these. Bryce Young goes off 189. Baker Mayfield 190. We'll take Tracy. Actually, we're not going to do that. Yes, we will. We'll take Tracy. And then we'll take two guys that aren't being drafted in everyone. Josu, always happy to see us. Says, I'm drafting into Keeper League right now. CMC 1, Debo fell to me in the third. Would you stack them or pick Kupp, London, Metcalf at the 2-3 turn? We're taking a break, so I have time to pick. I would not go Metcalf. I would not go Kupp. It would be London or Debo. If you think Ayuk stays in San Francisco, I think you go London. If you think Ayuk is dealt, I think you go Debo. But we're going to take Tank Bigsby here. I know Bigsby's the running back, too, in a decent offense. So we're going to mix him in. And I'm very sorry. Very rarely do I ever do this. Even if we had 500 likes, this is probably going to be the last live stream. I have a lot to do tomorrow. Sunday, I'm driving to a funeral. It's going to be a far drive there, far drive back. I'm tired as hell. I forgot to tell y'all, I have a funny story from today's run. I'll remind me tomorrow night and I'll tell it to y'all. But yeah, I need to make sure that we're going to be able to walk the dog, get everything we need to before the funeral. But much love. Appreciate you. As always, I'll be back tomorrow night, and hopefully I'll make it back on Sunday night to get that live stream going as well. Wouldn't be till super late. But nonetheless, if you want to join the draft with us, we'll be doing this every single night till the season starts. You can find that link in the description, comment section, live chat. Code FLOCK. Get you hooked up with my rest of season rankings, my 2024 fantasy football draft guide. Get you hooked up with a 2024 ADP consensus cheat sheet, a 50% deposit bonus up to $250, plus a Christian McCaffrey special pickup, more than less than half a total yard. We're having exclusive flock tournaments on Underdog every Monday and Thursday until the season starts. So I'd love to draft with you in one of those as well. But much love. Appreciate you. You can find that link in the description, comment section, live chat. And Lucas, yes, there will be a quarterback tier list video tomorrow coming out for you. But much love. Appreciate you. And really hope we get to see you out with that live stream tomorrow night.